Hey, what's up everybody? Hope you're having an amazing day so far. I'm your host Phil. In today's video, we're going to check out a new addition to the ecosystem of plugins all around the neural amp modeler, which is WAVEMIND's NAM Universal. Let's roll that intro clip and then get to work. You might have recognized that guitar capturing technology has taken the market by storm in the last 2 to 3 years. Of course, this is to a huge extent due to Tonix, which has been released by IQ Multimedia a few years ago. First their Tonix software, then their Tonix pedal, and then also the Tonix One, which was the first time that you could have really affordable tone capturing solutions or amp tone capturing solutions, which you can then bring to the stage with you. But in parallel to the Tonix ecosystem, which has been pushed out by IQ Multimedia, there's also another strong competitor, and that's Neural Amp Modeler. Neural Amp Modeler was so strong, or is so strong in competition, because it's 100% free and open source. It does a very similar thing to what Tonix does. It allows you to capture your analog signal chain, and to my experience, it actually allows you to do that with a tad more accuracy. So, you know, having that free, having it a little bit better than Tonix, you know, that's a recipe for success. And since it's 100% open source, people who are capable of doing so can take the code, they can alter it absolutely under the license which Steve Atkinson has released, Neural Amp Modeler, and then they can form their own products out of this. This gave birth to some incredibly cool stuff like the Dime Head NAM player, which I also reviewed on this channel and is currently over here sitting on this desk out of camera. And it also led to the plugin which I want to discuss or showcase today to you, WAVEMIND's NAM Universal. Now, being a little bit cynical, NAM Universal is basically a glorified or extended NAM loader plugin. But it has some cool quirks and some cool features which are absolutely worthwhile your time, and while being 100% free, I think you cannot argue against that. However, speaking of the plugin itself, let's actually dive into getting to know the plugin and know of its capabilities. For that, I'm going to change the scene in OBS over here, and then first let's talk about the signal chain. This guitar over here is a custom-made guitar from my buddy Leon. He has a small side hustle called Amber Guitars, and he made this one for me specifically to my needs. And this over here is a Duesenberg Grand Vintage humbucker. This is a low output humbucker, or low to mid output humbucker. A little bit less output than what I usually use on the channel, SH5, but I really like this guitar, so I decided I want to go for that instead. You always have the possibility to crank up the gain within the plugin. And you can see already the NAM Universal plugin in all of its glory over here. I think it really looks cool. The UI is made by Lewin Albani. You might know him from other vendors and other plugin companies where he makes his awesome designs, and so as well with WAVEMIND NAM Universal. What do we got over here? We got a tuner over here, fairly standard generic tuner. Does the job, sometimes a little bit flaky around, you know, when it's moving. Input mode, mono or stereo. I'm one-sided deaf, so before I screw up anything with stereo, because I have no stereo perception, I'm going to leave it to mono. WAVEMIND, you got a link to the website where you can check it out. AmpSim Universe is over here displayed with our logo, and then you got the presets over here where you can set up everything. For now, nothing interesting saved over here. Next up, you got this beautiful rack over here, which consists of the pedal profiler. This allows you to load any kind of NAM model. The only thing is that you don't got the tone stack over here. You simply got input and output, but it doesn't matter if it's a drive or an amplifier, but it's meant to be used for your respective boost profile. Next up, we got the Instigator, which is, to my understanding, the tone stack of a Mesa Boogie Mark series. You know, like they have this very specific tone stack which comes in front of the gain stages, and this is basically a copy of that over here. Really allows for some serious tone shaping, which we're going to explore. Then next up we got the amp block, which actually has the tone stack in there, so input output tone stack, and then the capability of selecting your NAM plugin. The Aggravator, which is, I wouldn't say a power amp simulation, but it does something different. So it allows you to do like resonance, presence, a little bit of low end, high end compression. That thing I think is also called the Andy Sneap trick, where with that compression stuff going on. And then in the end, we got the impulse response loader, which allows you to do either one and then, choose that, or just do two and go with the AB blend, like two IRs in parallel. Down below over here, link to Tone Hunt. You got the feedback link, the gate, which I set to -80. Let's go a little bit higher, but not too much. And then input and output. Set both to 0 dB. Now, when you first take this plugin out and you just strum, there's no sound going on. That is because no profile has been selected, which is different to the native NAM plugin loader. So when you have no NAM profile, it just gives you the dry output. In order to get the dry output over here, you would have to deactivate everything. And then you get the respective dry input. Now, we're going to start slowly building our signal chain over here by loading this. When you load this, you are being referred to this folder over here, which is the user, and then my respective username, WaveMind betas, in that case, NAMU amps. And if I go one step back, then you can see we got amps, IRs, and pedals. Now, these profiles have been contributed by several different content creators, such as mine, or Emil Robbe, or IRs from Eddie Shar. You might know him from Tone Hunt as Sharface. So a lot of different people have given their approval. And first off, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who has actually allowed us to use their respective content. It is absolutely appreciated because, of course, we know that there's a lot of work behind that. And I know it for myself. Creating profiles is time consuming, and we appreciate that we are allowed to use them from stock or in stock form in the NAM Universal. So we got amps, IRs, and pedals. In our case, we're currently searching for amps. We want guitar amps, and then you got Pipris. Just gonna go with that. And now you got different packs over here. There's a new pack which I haven't released on Tone Hunt yet, which is the Booster Rooster pack. I'm going to do that in a few days. But this is basically a pack where I separated the amplifiers from the drives. I usually like to merge them together to one single pack, or to one single NAM profile. Here I separated them because I knew what NAM Universal was capable of, so that you really have the freedom to just go ahead, select either the 6262 from Bugera, the EVH5153, or the PV6505 Plus, either on the crunch or lead channel in generic settings where it sounds good with all the different boosts. I'm just gonna go with the 6505 crunch, the blue channel, and then I got that going on. Of course, I have to click on this so that the rack module is on. And here's one thing which I find a little bit confusing. The naming that this is called bypass doesn't make sense to me, because having the light on and having bypass standing beside it indicates for me rather that it being turned on is bypassing the amplifier. But it's the other way around. Light is on, amplifier is on, light is off, amplifier is off. Okay. Yeah, of course, without an impulse response, this is going to sound horrible. This is going to sound like this. So you want to have some sort of impulse response going on. Sounds way different already. Okay, yeah, let's just play only with the amplifier. Already sounds okay, good, but for me personally, I need a boost in front of such an amplifier. So for that, I'm going to the pedal profiler, and this is kind of the core strength of the NAM Universal plugin over here. You got those two different NAM slots which you can assign. Right now we are standard or by default in NAMU pedals. Over here I'm going to Pipris again, I'm going into the boosts, and now you can see all the boosts of my Booster Rooster pack. So everything is set up so that you don't have to mangle around with input or output in respect between pedal and amplifier. The captures are all set up so that they work at plus 10 dBu. And yeah, let's go with the Fortin Tempest over here. And let's activate that. This is what it sounds like. So everything is set up that you should use an interface with plus 10 dBu and then leave everything at 0. If your interface has an interface or an input headroom level of plus 12 dBu, then you have to set this to minus 2 dB so that you are in the game in the perfect spot. But I would assume that anything around 12 dBu is going to work fine, and then you just have to adjust it to your own personal likings. What's nice is when you click on here, you get a drop down of the folder where you currently are in. So that way you can really easily just switch to another one. Let's go with the OCD, the HP engaged. Too gainy. Okay, let's go with the MXR M77. So that really works well. And there's another thing which I want to show you what you can do with this dual NAM slots over here. I'm not sure if you are aware of it, but there's a new company out there, Neutron Audio, which has released something which they call quantum speakers. The quantum speakers are basically NAM captures through a super clean solid state power amplifier into a speaker with great volume. So something which you normally don't get when you're doing it in your home usage, and then miking it up with expertise and care. And the results of this, capturing all of the dynamic stuff which are happening when you are driving the speakers at a very loud volume is really incredible. Let me show you over here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change from boosts to an amplifier. That way I will lose the tone stack because the pedal profiler section does not have that, but I don't care for that at the moment. So guitar, caprice, random brutalness, and I'm now going to go with one of my go-to profiles, my 6505 Plus, boosted with an OD 808. And now in the second NAM section, instead of using, an impulse response loader, so I'm going to turn that off. Instead of using the impulse response loader, I'm going to set up the quantum speakers, which Stuart from Neutron Audio, shout out to him, has sent me just to demonstrate very quickly what's going on over here. There's going to be a free pack soon where this greenback speaker over here, or this greenback quantum speaker, will be implemented over here, and it really sounds awesome. Let me showcase. Wow, that sounds really good and feels really good as well. I have to say, I'm a little bit somewhat surprised and convinced of quantum speakers. I will definitely delve into that in the future. I'm going to leave a link to them down in the description below. They got a free pack and they also got one, I think, paid pack. Really worth checking out and making a picture for yourself. But as I said before, there's going to be a free pack which includes this particular quantum speaker NAM profile in the future, and there's eventually going to be a video around that on the channel when I find the time to do so. Just want to showcase what you can do with different dual NAM setups, so you're not only bound to one is boost, one is amplifier, or one is amplifier and one is boost, or one is whatever, fuzz, and one is amplifier. You have like a lot of different options out there, and quantum speakers are an innovative and cool way to utilize NAM for something different than actually was kind of intended to, and thinking a little bit out of the box, pushing the boundaries a little bit further. So I always support endeavors which are trying to do that. With that out of the way, let's load back in the pedals over here. So I'm going to go to boosts and then take the king in yellow with the soft V curve. Then I'm going to the amplifier over here, Pipris, and then going here, so that we are back to stage one. I'm going to load a different impulse response because I like to use my own impulse response over here, and that is the Pip Secret Sauce, which I really love. So this is the tone which I'm currently getting, completely setting up the blend to one side. I mean, what now would be awesome if we would have a third slot so I could use a quantum speaker in there, but I don't want to be greedy. It's all cool as it is right now. And I really like the tone which I'm getting over here. So this is kind of my, generic thrash metal tone which I'm getting over here, for my stuff. Now, I'm going to bypass the pedal profiler because I want to test out the Instigator and what it's capable of doing. You already can hear that it's getting a lot mushier, and for that I'm using the Instigator. And now I can bump up the treble, I can raise down the bass, maybe take a little bit mids out, crank up the gain slightly, yeah, and maybe use the bright one. And you already can immediately hear this, like this, it's, yeah, it's a little bit gnarly, So it's really capable of shaping the tone, and you can do a lot with it, like, let's crank up the mids. With stuff like this, you can really easily craft, I could easily think of like a real smooth Fender twin reverb profile where you then use the Instigator to shape a little bit more, to get a little bit more of that, smoothness and out of with the neck humbucker, something like that in that respect. Or in this case, it's not a humbucker, it's a P90 actually, but you're kind of getting the point. A lot of different tonal variety going on with stuff like the Instigator. And the same kind of tonal variety which we get out of the Instigator, moving back to the pedal profiler turned on, we get with the Aggravator as well. The Aggravator is just working at a different spot. It's working right behind the amp block and doing a few different things. You got the oomph and the sparkle, which are very akin to resonance and presence. Let's try that out. And then you got the sparkle, which is, the presence. So you have all the tools which you need to fatten up or, lighten up, for lack of a better term, your dark, muddy captures or captures which are lacking a little bit of the low-end oomph. You got all of those different tools possible, and then you got comp and smooth. Comp and smooth, I learned, is something which is also regarded as the Andy Sneap trick, which is basically compressing the living hell out of a certain frequency spectrum in order to, for example, get the palm mutes under control. Not so sure if that's going to translate well into this. Let's try this out. I'm gonna drastically raise the oomph so that we're getting kind of an oversaturated thing on the palm mutes. And then I'm gonna use the comp. You gotta use it carefully because it can really thin out a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna use it carefully to kind of get to the sweet spot. Now that sounds really good. Same goes with the sparkle. I'm just going to add a little bit sparkle, a little bit too much just to showcase. So now I have an overbearingly, you know, high-end emphasizing tone. And the smooth allows me to take that out a little bit. Now this is really, really cool. You got a lot of different tonal options over here going on. I'm not going to go too deep into the impulse response loader thing because I think everybody knows by now how you can utilize an impulse response loader, how you know, how you can set up the blend and stuff like that. It's, you know, basically common knowledge out there. Over here you got a link to tone on, feedback, gate, input, output, as I said before. Yeah, what else can I say over here? There's a lot of interesting stuff to discover, man, especially when it comes to Neural Amp Modeler. It's very exciting. There's a lot of plugin developers out there doing the right thing. I think this is an awesome release, which WaveMind has brought here, which it gave birth to be a little bit more pathetic with words. You know, but I'm seriously impressed. Of course, my heart is a little bit involved due to my commitment in the Amp Sim universe, but I'm actually not really biased. Let's point out some key things which NAM Universal does really good, and then some where it a little bit lacks behind the competition, which is tonocracy and genome. First off, what I really like about NAM Universal, really like about NAM Universal is how easy it is to set up and load your NAM profiles. It's as simple as it gets, and as simple as it is with the native NAM loader plugin. You just click on load, you browse your stuff through the Explorer, you click on your NAM stuff, done. With tonocracy, I'm not sure how it is nowadays, but back then you had to import them. They are then kind of converted to snapshots, which are the proprietary system for tonocracy. Then you add them into the signal chain. Then you have your options over there. So it's way more tedious because you have like this modular block system, which has its benefits, which we're going to come to. On Genome, you got the issue that, or at least you had the issue a few weeks ago when I checked last, that you are bound to using VST only. You don't have a standalone version of Genome, if that's correct, or the other way around. With WaveMind, you got both plugin format and standalone application. So that's a big win in my book. And as we are currently speaking, or as I'm filming right now, we are also checking Mac versions, and we're also trying to find out if we can port that down to older Mac versions. But, you know, that's right now under development. I cannot say anything about that really. What else do we have? So I think these are core features which make NAM Universal my personal favorite choice out there. However, where it lacks compared to both Genome and tonocracy is effects. There's nothing special about effects like modulation, time-based effects, and so on and so forth. The question would be, do you need that? Do you need like a full encompassing suite where you have everything? Then tonocracy or Genome might be a better choice for you, with the respective downsides. But for me personally, when I'm using Neural Amp Modeler, I don't necessarily want to go like full-scale amp suite style with reverbs and effects and modulation, all that stuff. I want to have a good basis where I can control the amp portion, and everything else I'm getting out of different plugins anyways. So if I want to use delays or reverbs, I personally love the pot farm delays and reverbs, which I use all the time. So if I would want to have a delay over here, I just go over here, click on pot farm delay. I know exactly what to do, and I'm good to go. You know, like let's just play around with this. So I know exactly how to set up my delay. I know exactly how to set up my chorus with the respective stuff. I like to use Aggravator for that. Let's just go ahead and just do it. Kind of You know, proof is in the pudding. So let's go with that. Oh, sorry. That's not what I want to do. Azurite. And then I like the, I think it's the warm or the rich. Not sure. Let's try that. I think it was warm. Extra points if you know what I was trying to play there, but totally butchered. But you kind of get the point, you know, like if I want to have specific effects, I already have my go-to effects, which are not included into NAM, or into NAM Universal for a matter of fact. So I don't need them. And thus, I personally crown NAM Universal my personal favorite out of these, let's say, third-party NAM loader plugins. Because it's super easy to just load in the two different NAM blocks. I don't have to tinker around with blocks and drag and drop and converting and doing this and that. And then, oh no, it's only a plugin. I don't have a standalone. All of that stuff I don't have to worry about. And it has those cool features of the Instigator and Aggravator. With that out of the way, what's my conclusion of this? Let's roll back to the other camera scene. Yeah, of course. What's my conclusion? It's awesome. You know, I really enjoy that people are diving straight into Neural Amp Modeler. They're bringing out good products revolving around this new technology. I think this has so much potential for the future. NAM Universal will also bring a lot of people kind of into curiosity in what WaveMind is all about. They have really good plugins, which I highly recommend checking out. I did a review of their rectifier, which I'm gonna set as a hover card at the end of the video, definitely. And I was genuinely impressed. You know, really good stuff. Chris seems to be a nice guy from all of the communication which I had with him so far. With that out of the way, go check it out. I'm gonna link down below WaveMind's webpage. Since I don't got the download link yet, I'm not sure if I'm gonna post the exact download link, but if I have it, you're gonna see it in the description below. Otherwise, just go to wavemind.net. There you can find stuff. Because I was also so intrigued and positively surprised by the quantum speakers, I'm going to also link their webpage or their free pack down below that you can check out further. And yeah, my computer is telling me that I have to load my phone, so that's what I'm going to do. If you have liked this video, if you have learned anything out of it, then please consider subscribing to the channel. There's going to be some more content within the next days. And yeah, thank you so much everybody for hanging out with me, watching this video. Appreciate it truly. Until next one, keep it metal.